An extraordinary woman once told me to pick up a rock. Standing in an old lot next to an old church on a hot day in a public housing complex in Selma, Alabama, I bent and picked up this pebble from the ground. As I did, she told me about Sunday, March 7th, 1965, now known as Bloody Sunday, where she marched with over 500 other activists atop the infamous Edmund Pettus Bridge. She witnessed as an 11-year-old girl the unprovoked beating of peaceful marchers. The clubs, the gas, the horses, the guns. She heard the screams, saw the blood, and fainted. This rock in my hand, she told me, was there that day too. For after the chaos and violence, the marchers returned, she told me, to this church, to this block, and they stood here, on this small lot, and this rock. It then became like a seed germinating in my hand. I held it tight and felt it growing inside of me. Like a castle of courage for a cowardly kid, it gave me solace. Showed me George Wallace, red-necked and bigoted head. Showed me Jimmy Lee Jackson, Schwerner, Cheney, Goodman, King, X, and 4 little girls dead. It showed me strife and pain. The need for struggle with or without any gain. It showed me the jails, the dogs, the hoses, the hate, digging its roots into my hand. This rock showed me my fate. Whether grave or great, we cannot wait, cannot be scared, and cannot not care. That, she told me, was John Lewis's rock, as he led the marchers head first into the batons. It was Amelia Boynton's rock, as she inhaled the toxic gas. It was Hosea Williams' rock. After taking the loud end of a bullwhip, they all came back here, where we stood, to the church in the projects, outside the GWC homes. Outside the overflowing sanctuary turned emergency room because the white hospitals wouldn't take them. They stood here and waited. They stood here and healed. They stood here and organized. They stood here on this rock and planned to march again. In the face of hopelessness, in the face of violence, in the face of state-sponsored homegrown terrorism, they stood strong for freedom. Against the law, but with the Lord. Against the odds, but firm with unity. They stood strong together on this rock. They touched this rock touched me, and you don't have to study philosophy to know that therefore we have a connection. But it's much, much more than that. This rock became a quarry of passion implanted in my hand, roots spreading in my skin. It found home in my blood and began breeding. As numerous as the stars in the skies, I now find magic rocks like this in the eyes of every protester, preacher, and social worker I see. Every student, scholar, and dropout, every prisoner, parolee, and probation officer. I see this rock every day. No longer stepped on. We hold our rocks high in our hearts, ready to organize and stand together, just to get beat down against the law, but in the name of justice, until they can beat us no longer. For each of us has a heart beating stronger, with magic stones in our hands, ready to carry this movement on longer, from song to song, to bus, jail to jail, street to street, country to country. This is no small thing. This rock, this pebble that Miss Joanne Bland gave to me, has forever changed my life. I'm Jonathan B. Tucker. It's a poem called This Rock, an ode to a wonderful civil rights activist still working to this day in Selma, Alabama for the people. Miss Joanne Bland, we love you.